This was the aggression which Hitler later used to justify his attack. At 8 that morning, German troops pushed aside the Polish frontier barriers and mobile forces raced forward. 2 days later, on September the 3rd, Britain and France declared war, honoring their promise to stand by Poland. Its defenders rejected a German offer to surrender, so the full fury of the German war machine was turned on it. Watching it all was Adolf Hitler, who had followed close behind his conquering army. The government had been formed by General Władysław Sikorski. The Poles would fight on bravely from abroad. At dawn, a whole German airborne division parachuted into Holland to seize bridges and airfields. Simultaneously, the massive Belgian fortress of Ebern-Emael was assaulted, and Hitler's Army Group B, under General Fedor von Bock, now drove into Holland and Belgium. As planned, the French and British armies along the Belgian border moved forward to their new defensive line along the Dyle and Meuse rivers. Commanders seem to have noticed that German Army Group A, which had the bulk of the panzers, after brushing aside the Belgian frontier troops, had now begun driving through the hills and woods of the Ardennes to their south. Meanwhile, the Germans were pushing rapidly through Holland. The obsolete Dutch army was no match for the highly tuned German war machine. And it was under continual heavy air attack by the Luftwaffe, which roamed the skies unchallenged.
On the 17th, de Gaulle mounted a counterattack at Mount Cornet, only to be quickly brushed aside by the German advance. Regrouping 2 days later, he attempted to renew his attack and actually penetrated the German line, but was ordered to desist. Were unable to maintain the timetable, and the Allies were forced to retreat. An order was given by Rundstedt on May 23rd to halt the panzers, to allow other units to close the gap between the vanguard and the main body. Göring convinced Hitler that the Luftwaffe could keep the Allies pinned at Dunkirk. The German military surrounded Dunkirk on May 26th. Army Group B was faced...
Wenn sie in deutsche Gefangenschaft geraten, würde zumindest Großbritannien kaum in der Lage sein, den Krieg gegen das NS-Regime fortzuführen. Als deutsche Stukas die Strände bombardieren, sieht die Lage der Alliierten hoffnungslos aus. Doch dann geschieht ein regelrechtes Wunder. Am 1. Juni sind es vorrangig noch Franzosen, die den Verteidigungsring um Dünkirchen halten. Nur 40.000 britische Soldaten befinden sich noch in dem Kessel. Daneben Belgier. Der 3. Juni ist der letzte Tag der Evakuierungsaktion. 1000 britische und alliierte Soldaten konnten gerettet werden. Den Männern ist die Erleichterung anzusehen.
Es hört sich vielleicht seltsam an, aber...
Als die Männer in Zügen durch die Grafschaft Kent transportiert werden, empfängt man sie wie Helden.
Richtung 40. Hermann, tragen Sie ein. Mein Helm. Ich gehe gleich mal vor den Panzerangriff.
Jawohl,
Machen Sie hier weiter.
With the cream of the Allied armies routed in Belgium, it could only be a matter of time before Germany finished off Wegen's remaining forces. In less than 4 weeks of fighting, the French had already lost 30 divisions and most of their armor. 4 days later, the Germans entered the city. On June the 16th, Reynaud resigned and a new cabinet was formed, headed by Marshal Philippe Pétain. 84 years old, Pétain had been one of the heroes of France's victory in World War I. In the present crisis, however, Pétain could see no point in prolonging the struggle. On June the 20th, Hitler delivered his terms to the French envoys. Hitler's main objective was to cut France off from Britain. The northern part of France would be occupied by Germany and used as a base for continuing the war with Britain. The remainder would be governed from Vichy by a regime headed by Pétain. The French could keep their fleet and their colonies. Hitler had a place it had. When the French, led by General Hunziker, arrived and recognized the carriage, they were aghast. It was Hitler's supreme gesture of revenge. One German diarist later wrote, "The Battle of France is over. It has lasted 26 years." On June the 22nd, General Weygand authorized the acceptance of German terms, and the 3 French armies, cut off in the east, a total of 400,000 men, surrendered. At 12:35 a.m. on June the 25th, the fighting officially ceased. His most spectacular victory thus sowed the seeds of his ultimate defeat.